All right, good morning, everyone. We have a very serious situation beginning to develop here in northeastern portions of Berks County. A tornado warning has now been issued for areas just north of Reading. We're zoomed into Berks County here. I have the storm track on. Here's some of the smaller communities that are within the path of this. It appears to be this cell right here, which is just to the northwest of Dryville and Fleetwood. We're getting reports of some pretty good winds, and also Doppler radar has now indicated a little bit of rotation taking place. So a possible tornado is developing in here between Dryville and Kutztown. You can see the track that we have takes us all the way out into southern portions of Lehigh County by the time we get to about maybe 6:50 this morning. So this is zipping along at about 25 miles per hour. We've also had a lot of reports of flooding taking place now in portions of Berks County. Emergency management reports several water rescues, multiple vehicles stranded because of the flash flooding taking place. Rainfall rates have been anywhere from 2 to 4 inches an hour. We've got a very tropical atmosphere in place now as a warm front pushes through. So it's almost like wringing out a sponge. It's pouring in this part of the area. And the problem is we're seeing cell after cell, storm after storm, just traveling over the same part of this county here, and it's been doing that for the last hour. So again, from Tuckerton to Leesport to Fleetwood, all seeing heavy rains, but it's going to be this area here, 5 Points, Longsdale, Hancock here, Ringtown, these areas, Monterey, where there is the possibility of some rotation, a possible tornado on the ground. So let's take it to this radar here. And there's a look at the cell right there. It's well north and west of Philadelphia. We're all the way up again in Berks County, extending northward into the Lehigh Valley. We're going to zoom in there. Let's get this out of here. So it's moving along again about 25 miles per hour. The northern edge is just now getting ready to cross over the northeast extension here, but the heaviest weather is indicated right there with this darker cell moving just to the northeast of Reading and again pushing over into Lehigh County. It looks like it's getting ready to cross right over 222. You can see all the cloud ground lightning strikes. We're getting hundreds of reports of lightning strikes here. Here's a look at the watches and warnings that are now in effect. So this right here is a flood warning, which is up for most of Berks County. This yellow is the severe thunderstorm warning, where we're getting straight line wind reports of 60 to 65 miles per hour. And then this red area here, that's the tornado warning. You can see it's north of Reading. It's right around the Kutztown area, extending northeastward, and it does include this small community, Long Swap, getting ready to push into Lehigh County. As we look at Storm Tracker 6 Live again, so we'll just stay on this for a second. Just a couple of quick reminders here. If you're within this area and your town is within this little reminder there of some of the communities that are within the path of this cell. Just remember, you want to get to the basement or the center part of your house. If you don't have a basement, center part of your house, putting as many walls in between you and the outside as possible. Stay away from windows, stay away from anything, any kind of flying debris. If you are downstairs, maybe try to cover yourself with a blanket or something because of flying debris. You don't want to be anywhere near windows or doors, and just kind of ride this out. It's moving along pretty good, and Doppler radar indicates that the rotation was just off the ground. So there isn't necessarily a tornado on the ground here, but the radar is indicating rotation just above the ground. So that's why the warning has been issued. So again, here's some of the smaller communities. We likely have hail being reported here, where you're seeing this lavender shade. Fleetwood, Dryville, Pine Waters, Kutztown, all within the area here, picking up severe weather. Again, 60-mile-an-hour straight line winds. Allentown, it looks like on its current path, it would pass just to the northwest of you, or at least the cell would pass to the northwest, and then this would eventually push up into the Poconos. Let's just go back here, go back to this one, and I will take you back to the radar. I'm going to go back to the watches and warnings. So again, this tornado warning is up until 7 a.m., which is approximately about 12 minutes from now. The severe thunderstorm warning is up until 7:15, and the flash flood warning, that is in effect until 8:45. This is the only game in town right now. Everybody else seeing mainly just cloudy skies, very humid tropical conditions. But this one particular area continues to get hit, and hit pretty hard. This is the third cell now that has developed over this county within the last hour, hour and a half. So there's the northeast extension here. Here's the Lehigh Valley and Allentown. And again, it just continues to lift to the north at about 20 to 25 miles per hour. Conditions beginning to improve now in Reading. Burnville, which had the water rescues, is right about there. So we're finally starting to see the rains come to an end there. And still reporting very heavy rains up here in Maiden Creek, and a ton of cloud-to-ground lightning strikes along 222 from Reading all the way up eventually into the Lehigh Valley. So we'll go back over to the warnings again. If you are in northeastern portions of Berks County, a tornado warning is in effect until 7 o'clock this morning. Another 11 minutes from now it is set to expire, and it includes Long Swamp and some of these smaller communities northeast of Kutztown and Reading. Severe thunderstorm warning up for this area here, this yellow shaded area, and that is up until 7:15. And then the flash flood warning is up for the rest of the county here. And that's because we've seen Doppler radar estimates over 4 inches now. And a lot of that has fallen within a 2-hour time frame. So just a tremendous amount of water falling in a very short period of time. And obviously it has nowhere to go. It hasn't seeped into the ground, so it all runs off. And that's why we're seeing the water rescues. And that's why we're seeing the low-level flooding, the low-lying flooding, I should say, out and through here. So most of the activity is occurring east of I-78 and south of I-80. This cell again continuing to push to the northeast at about 20-25 miles per hour, and it looks like it's eyeing up the Lehigh Valley. Should get into Lehigh County shortly, let's say the next 10-15 minutes or so. We'll go back over to the radar. You can get another look at it here. So again, conditions beginning to improve for Reading, but conditions going downhill quickly now up there in Allentown. Cell lifting out of Berks County. A lot of cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. It's this area here, right in through here, that has the tornado warning. This is where the rotation was being reported, where we're starting to see the rotation get closer and closer to the ground. So it would be just to the northeast of Kutztown. And again, all of this activity lifting to the north at 20 to 25 miles per hour. Let's go out a little bit wider. We also have some heavy rains lifting north up into the Poconos, and we talked about this yesterday. There's going to be a warm front coming in. If you remember yesterday, it was hot. We got up to 90 degrees, but it was fairly comfortable. Dry air mixed in, the dew points dropped. Today, the warm front is pushing through. This warm front is triggering the severe weather right now. There's a tremendous amount of tropical moisture in the atmosphere with this front. It is extremely uncomfortable out there. We have dew points all the way up into the mid-70s now. I mean, it's almost kind of hard to breathe when the atmosphere gets that souped up. It's literally like you stepped out into Florida here. That's what they see on a daily basis. So that's the atmosphere that's pushing through with this warm front. And again, we're just wringing out all the moisture here in the form of downpours. Look at all the cloud-to-ground lightning strikes now off to the northwest. So the wider view shows also a couple of cells here in southern Lancaster County. The immediate Philadelphia area is pretty quiet though. There's not much going on here. The warm front is kind of lifting through like this. If you were looking at a surface map, you would see a front here, and it would be pulling off to the northeast at about 30 to 35 miles per hour. Very uncomfortable in this part of the viewing area. That air mass again lifting to the north. That's going to set the stage for a very hot and oppressive day today. A heat advisory has been issued for the I-95 corridor. Because of that, an AccuWeather alert has been issued where the heat index could get up over 100 degrees in Philadelphia. So at the moment, we have a tornado warning up for northeastern portions of Berks County. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning up for eastern portions of Berks County, and then a flash flood warning up for almost the entire county because of this cell here. It's the third cell that has developed within the last hour, hour and a half, and it continues to develop over the same areas here. So again, this is lifting to the north. Allentown, it looks like it's getting ready to push, or at least some of the heavier rains with this particular cell, getting ready to push into Allentown in the Lehigh Valley. There's I-78 here. And this would be the northeast extension. So it's just to the southwest of those two major roadways. 222, if you're traveling along 222, a ton of rain falling right now. We're getting reports of water rescues in Burnville, which is right about there to the northwest of Reading. And we're also seeing a lot of ponding on the road. You know what it's like when the rain comes down that heavily and you're trying to travel along the road. There's so much water on the road here that traveling just becomes very, very difficult. We are getting hundreds of reports of cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. So here's another look at the watches and warnings that have been issued. So this green is actually a flood advisory, meaning the flooding isn't quite as severe there, but we're still seeing flooding reports here. It's this red shaded area where we have seen some serious flooding taking place in numerous water rescues. It does include Reading, and again, that is up until 8:45. The tornado warning, which is right here, this red shaded area, that's going to continue until 7 a.m. And then the severe thunderstorm warning is up until 7:15. So it looks like about another 7 minutes to go for this warning. Let's go back over to Storm Tracker 6 Live, and there's a better look at it here. Well, now we're seeing a cylinder here, so this is a sure sign that the rotation is getting pretty close to the ground. We have the storm track up, and it has some of the communities here that are within the path of this storm. It is moving off to the northeast, just like this, at 25 miles per hour. So on its present course, it would travel just to the southeast of Allentown, and it looks like it would go just to the northwest of Macungie and Red Lion and Emmaus. So it's going to continue to travel just like this. And it looks like we're starting to get a pretty good hail core here now as well, indicated by these lavender shades, which would indicate the large, let's say, golf ball size hail. You're probably getting that just north of the storm, and all of this red represents the very heavy rain that continues to fall. So it looks like the cylinder is just to the east now of Dryville, moving northeast at 25 miles per hour. It's going to pass by just to the west of Red Lion, probably within the next 5 to 10 minutes or so. And what you're seeing here, this rotating cylinder here, when they start to pop up on Storm Tracker 6, that means not only is the rotation pretty prominent at this point, but it's also pretty close to the ground. So there's a good indication here that we're at least seeing a funnel cloud here, if not a tornado on the ground. Redding would be a little bit farther to the south. It's not on this map right now. There is Cootsville, and here's Orfield. This is all the way up into Lehigh County, and there's Ruppsville here. So just to kind of give you a general idea of where we are in our viewing area, this is Berks County, this is Lehigh County, and these are some of the smaller communities that are within the path of what appears to be a tornado, or at least some pretty good rotation close to the ground here in northeastern portions of Berks County. And some reminders again, with the tornado, you want to get into the center part of your house or the basement. Basement would be the best place to be, but if you don't have a basement, again, center part of your house, you want to put as many walls in between you and the outside as possible here. Stay away from windows, stay away from doors, or anything that can just fly and cut you or hurt you if it breaks. Some of the communities here include Albertsis. Actually, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce some of them, but you can see them here on the left, and that is the path in which this storm is going to travel here over the next, let's say, 15-20 minutes. We're getting some pretty good indications of a hook now starting to develop. You see that here? That's a sure sign that the rotation is getting stronger. There's the rotating cylinder here, and what tends to happen when you look at a radar, because of the pull, you start to get a little bit of a hook, almost like a fish hook. It's just pulling the cell down. So when you see a fish hook like this, that's an indication that we have rotating winds. Now, if you were to look at a radar and you were seeing a Boeing shape like that, that would mean straight line winds, but we're not seeing that. We'd actually rather see that right now. We're seeing this hook, and it appears to be pretty well defined at this point here. There's the rotation again. It is just to the southwest of Red Lion. This cell lifting to the northeast at 25 miles per hour should pass just to the west of Red Lion, Macungie, Emmaus, Allentown. It'll likely pass just south of there if it holds together. We have pretty good rotation here, a ton of cloud to ground lightning strikes. Everything looks to be intact here for a tornado on the ground. We're seeing the hail core now, we're seeing the hook. So just by looking at this right now, and I don't have anyone in my ear, I can't tell if there's a tornado actually on the ground right now, but just by looking at this, I would say, yeah, there's a real good chance that we're getting a tornado on the ground at this point now. So again, here's Red Lion, here's Macungie, here's Emmaus. This is what we're going to watch closely over the next couple of hours, or excuse me, next couple of minutes. We are at 6:57. It is set to expire at 7 a.m. Let's see whether or not they continue the warning. Right now it looks like we are getting some pretty good indication though that we're seeing that rotation. So tornado warning up right here, and it has now been extended. So it has now been extended into southern portions of Lehigh County. So this includes areas just south now of Allentown, and it includes areas right over the northeast extension. Tornado warnings have been issued here. This one is now up until 7:30. So the National Weather Service is getting a jump start in Lehigh County, because it does appear as if we've got a tornado on the ground now in northeastern portions of Berks County. Again, this is a severe thunderstorm warning, and this is a flood warning off to the west. Here's a quick look at the cell as we set it in motion for you. Now, the heaviest weather is indicated by the darker shades of red. So where you're seeing this maroon color and the bright shades of red here, that's where we're seeing the heavy rains. It's also where we're seeing the strong gusty winds. Obviously, these are cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. So it's pulling away from Redding. It's pulling away from Kutztown. and it's getting ready to push into Lehigh County now. Here's Allentown. There is the northeast extension. And we'll just stay on this here for a second. It looks like, again, it's going to pass just to the southwest, just to the west of Macungie, just to the west of Red Lion. It's moving to the northeast at about 25 miles per hour, and it looks like it's going to push through southern portions of Lehigh County here. So, again, we'll just stay on this, and we'll watch this go through over the next few minutes. Very heavy rains, strong gusty winds. If you're not in the area that's picking up the rotation, you're certainly seeing powerful thunderstorm winds, straight line winds with this. They're being estimated at 60 to 65 miles per hour. Now, that's a Doppler radar estimate, but we've had reports here of some wind damage within this part of Berks County. This is central Berks County. Again, this is the third cell that has developed within the last hour, hour and a half. There's a warm front pushing through, and all of this energy kind of has just flared up along that front. Fortunately, it's just this part of the viewing area that's getting hit with the severe weather right now. It looks like the Philadelphia area is in the clear, and most of South Jersey and Delaware. We also have a heat advisory that's going to go into effect later this afternoon. That's up until 8 o'clock this evening. It's going to be a very oppressive day out there. Temperatures topping out in the low 90s, but the heat index, when you factor in that humidity, it's going to feel like 100 degrees easy out there. It's another horribly humid day for the Philadelphia area. This looks to be the last of it, though. And then, of course, all eyes are on Tropical Storm Isaias as that comes up the coast on Tuesday. So Storm Tracker 6 Live continues to show the movement here. This cell pulling away from the Reading area. Looks like it's pulling away from Kutztown now as well, which is right about there. The rotation would be just in the middle. This tornado warning has now been extended. It includes southern portions of Lehigh County, so areas just south of Allentown. This is up until 7:30. Long Swamp is included in this. Severe thunderstorm warning until 7:15, and that's for this orange shaded area here. And then the red, as I mentioned earlier, that's going to be the flash flood warning. We've seen easy 3, 4, and in some cases 4.5 inches of rain fall since about 5 o'clock this morning. So it hasn't been too long. We've picked up a tremendous amount of rain. We're seeing a tremendous amount of flooding. And this green here, that is where we're picking up a flood advisory at the moment. Let's go back over to the radar. And we're just going to watch this travel right into Lehigh County here. So this is, again, Berks County. That is Lehigh County. There's the county line right about there. And right now, it looks like the rotation is right about there. It's just west of Red Lion and Emmaus. And it is lifting northeast, just like that, into southern portions of Lehigh County. Let me try and get back up Storm Tracker 6 Live. We're going to see if we can push this back up here and I can get a tighter shot for you. There it is right there. So it would be right about here. Again, so I haven't had a chance to update this track here. The cell is right about there. It looks like the center is going to be just west of Red Lion. This is all hail that's falling here in this purple shade. So it's going to move just like this, probably just west of Macungie and Emmaus. There's Allentown in the Lehigh Valley right there. So again, we'll just continue to watch this. It looks like we do have a tornado on the ground, or at least Doppler radar indications are that there is a tornado on the ground, or at least very strong rotation close to the ground. A ton of cloud to ground lightning strikes here. Fleetwood to Kutztown, heavy drenching downpours, flash flooding taking place. And then you go just to the south of Ruppsville. We're also seeing the very heavy rains, strong gusty winds. There's Macungie, there's Red Lion right there. So again, just if you're in this viewing area here, you want to get to the basement or the center part of your house. Don't wait. It looks like we've got very good rotation here. There likely is something going on, something close to the ground. So don't wait. Get down to the basement now. And again, just stay away from anything that could cut you. If it's broken glass or something like that, stay away from windows or anything that can fly, any kind of debris. Just get away from that and keep yourself safe. So Red Lion, Macungie, Emmaus. These are the three major communities here that we're going to watch closely. Looks like the storm will travel just to the west of those areas there, but it's going to be a very close call. It may actually even go right over Macungie and Emmaus. The system, the cell is right there. And again, it is just to the, looks like north now of Red Lion, traveling to the northeast at 20 to 25 miles per hour. So let's have an early warning now for Emmaus. Let's just put you guys under warning. Now is the time. Do what you got to do. Get down to the basement. Areas south of Allentown, same general idea here. The storm is still a good 15, 20 minutes away, but do what you got to do now. Get yourself prepared. We've got rotation here. We've also got strong, gusty, straight line winds up to 60 miles per hour. There's Bally. Looks like Crasdale right there. So it looks like you guys are going to steer clear of this storm. You're just a little bit too far to the southeast, but just to the northwest, maybe 15, 20 minutes up the road, and that's where we're picking up this very heavy cell here. So you can clearly see all the heavy rains indicated by the reds, and then of course the hail, which would be indicated here by this purple shade. That's the hail core. So there's your rotation right about there. You're getting this hook shape just like this. Again, everything pulling down. What's happening is if you were to look at the overall wind field, you would see something like this. The wind's coming in this way to the south, the wind's coming in that way from the north. That's why you get the rotation like that. So it's, again, right around the Red Lion area. I would put it just to the north of Red Lion, right about there. And it looks like it will get very close to Macungie and Emmaus over the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. And you can see we're updating here live all the cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. We've seen hundreds and hundreds of cloud-to-ground lightning strikes over the last couple of minutes. If we can, how about we do this so I can update this? Let's take weather source 13, let's take it full, and that'll give me the opportunity to go over and kind of update some of the tracks on this. There we go. Actually, make it 12. Let's take 12 full, please. And that'll give me the opportunity again to update some of the tracks here. So we're zoomed into northeastern portions of Berks County. Again, a tornado warning has been issued, and this has been issued until 7:30 this morning. It's up for northeast Berks County as well as southern portions of Lehigh County. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to put a storm track on so we can get a general idea. There's Red Lion right there. The circulation is just like that. So I'm at about 25 miles per hour right here. And there it is. So there's some of the communities right there. Okay, good. This is updated. Excuse me one second. I'm going to take a quick sip of water here. Okay, so there's some of the communities right there in that little box that you can see that are in the path of this storm that could see a tornado over the next few minutes here. So Spring Creek looks like 707. And it's going to pass, it looks like, right over Macungie or just to the north of Macungie and Emmaus. Allentown, it looks like it's going to be knocking on your door, should pass by to the south. Also, note the lightning strikes here. Remember, these numbers are taken in 15-minute increments. We're seeing 44 lightning strikes within this small area. We've just seen a tremendous amount of energy with this, and it's a warm front that's pushing through. Now, we talked about this yesterday, how this warm front was just going to open the door to all this tropical humidity. It was going to become very uncomfortable out there. Dew points have surged all the way up into the 70s. If you've been outdoors already, you know how lousy it feels out there. Well, this is also producing a lot of energy in the atmosphere, and so these thunderstorms have developed along this front, and now we're getting some of that energy drawn down to the surface, and the result is this right here. We now have a tornado warning. We're getting some rotation here, a tornado warning, northeastern portions of Berks County and southern Lehigh County, and this is up until 7:30 this morning. If you can look to the left, you see some of the communities here that are within the path of this storm. Now, if you just look at the colors, the purple is where we're likely seeing hail, probably golf ball size hail being reported there. At the very least, marble or quarter size hail being reported. The reds represent the heavy drenching downpours. This whole area, by the way, under a flood warning, a flash flood warning. That's up until 8:45. We've had a tremendous amount of rain that has fallen within the last 2 hours. Some areas, Doppler radar estimates are over 4 inches now. So it just continues to rain and rain and rain and fall in this one area. And this is really the only part of our viewing area that continues to see the heavy drenching rains. The immediate Philadelphia area is clear. South Jersey, there's no cells there. And Delaware, it doesn't look like anything's going on down there either. So it's just this one little cell that is flared up. Two others before this flared up in this same area. Berks County has been hit very, very hard. Emergency management has reported numerous water rescues in Burnville, which is just to the northwest of Reading. Multiple vehicles involved there because the rain came down so heavily. It was coming down so quickly that it didn't give these folks the opportunity to get to higher ground, and because of that, they needed to be rescued. We've had multiple reports of that. Fortunately, it looks like the Reading area is starting to clear now, but here's a look at this cell. The cell has gained a little bit of strength. We're starting to see the winds rotate a little bit. It's right over Red Line. Lion. And it looks like it's going to move to the, I've been saying just north of Macungie. It looks like it's going to go right over Macungie now, or Emmaus. It's pushing off to the northeast at about 20 to 25 miles per hour. So the good news is, if you look at that box on the left-hand part of your screen, that's going to continue to update for you. So more communities will be put in that box as the storm continues to travel to the east. So if you see your community here in this box, you need to seek shelter immediately. And if you live in this area, the Macungie area, if you live near Emmaus, if you live near Coopersburg or in Allentown, you should already be preparing yourself. Do what you got to do now. Get to the basement, the center part of your house. Do what you got to do to stay safe. It looks like we have some pretty good rotation here that is very close to the ground. It's right over top of Red Lion. You can see that hail core, that purple shade, southwest of Macungie. That's where we're getting reports of hail, some pretty decent size hail with that. So this looks like a very healthy cell. It's going to continue to push off to the northeast. Heavy rains, dangerous lightning, obviously the rotating winds. And where you're not seeing the rotating winds, you're going to see the straight line winds. So this is extreme northeastern Berks County. We're getting ready to move right across that county line into Lehigh County now. Macungie, Emmaus, you are all within the path of this cell. It looks like it may pass just south of you guys here. So again, please do what you have to do. It looks like Macungie right around 7-11, so about 2 minutes from now, this storm will be right over top of you. So please do what you got to do now. Basement, center part of your house. Take precautions as this cell continues to pass by. Again, the Reading area, everything beginning to clear out now. I'm looking at a wider view as I'm speaking, and it looks like all the heavy rain has just now lifted north of Reading, and it doesn't appear as if there's any more cells off to the southwest. So this should be the last of it. Hopefully this is the last of it, because again, the Reading area has been hit 3 times already this morning within the last couple of hours alone. Doppler radar estimates easily over 4 inches of rain now in Burnville, which is just to the northwest of Reading by about maybe 15 minutes or so. And they've had numerous water rescues there. Actually, the entire western part of Berks County is still under a flash flood warning. That is up until 8:45. Hopefully the water will continue to recede. Now, the Storm Prediction Center says that, yes, we could see some more severe weather later this afternoon. Looks like conditions are ripe. Looks like there's a pretty good amount of energy in the atmosphere. Obviously, all the heating of the day could lead to more showers and thunderstorms later on. We're under a heat advisory. That's up until 8 o'clock this evening, where we will experience heat index numbers up to 100 degrees. Now, our far western counties, where we're zoomed in now, Berks County, Lehigh County, Northampton, you guys are not included in that advisory. The advisory is up for mainly the I-95 corridor, as well as interior sections of South Jersey. Again, the big concern later this afternoon is the dangerous heat. Heat index numbers ranging from 100 to 104 degrees later on. That was issued by the National Weather Service. Getting back to the Storm Prediction Center, the Storm Prediction Center is suggesting that the cells that develop later this afternoon will feature straight line winds. If we're going to get them, there's no guarantee that we'll get them, but the atmosphere appears to be ripe that more cells will pop up later on. And it looks like the biggest threat with those will once again be the drenching rains and also strong straight line winds, not these rotating winds that we're seeing right now. So we'll get back to the tornado warning here. We're zoomed into northeastern portions of Berks County. This cell is right over Red Lion. Looks like it's moving north now and away from Red Lion. It is just south of Macungie. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to put a new storm track on this because it's starting to pull away. And again, the cell is moving at about 25 miles per hour. So there it is right there. And I just got to put this 25 right there. So there it would be right there. And again, here's some of the smaller communities right here within this box that are going to feel the impacts of this cell within the next few minutes here. It looks like Powder Valley right around 7:17, which is 5 minutes from now. So that's giving you guys plenty of warning. Please seek shelter now. Go to the basement, center part of your house. Sigmund 713. It's knocking on the door right now. That again, the purple shade, if you were to just look at this, the purple shade is where we're seeing the hail. We're getting reports of hailstones the size of golf balls, the size of quarters. There's a lot of hail being reported this. You can see the cloud to ground lightning strikes. That's updating. Everything's updating in real time. That's the good thing with a live radar. It's the only live radar in the entire viewing area here. This updates literally right in front of your eyes. So this is the very latest image. Macungie again getting hit very hard here. Heavy drenching rains, large hail. Emmaus, it's going to push right through you. So again, the heavy rains and the hail, that'll push over you guys, but it looks like the rotation will travel just south of Macungie and Emmaus. So if you live just south of Macungie and Emmaus, that's where we are concerned for the threat of these rotating winds, the threat of at least a tornado or some kind of rotation, maybe what they call a downburst or a downdraft, strong straight line winds. We're getting reports of, again, a lot of wind damage now in northeastern portions of Berks County. So it's pulling away from Red Lion. We're still seeing the heavy rains in Red Lion, but it looks like conditions are beginning to ease a little bit there. Macungie still seeing the heavy rains and the hail, and it looks like Emmaus is starting to see some very heavy rain as well. Let's take tell you what, guys, let's take source 13 now, weather 13 full. Let's take a wider look at this. And there it is right there. So you can see what's going on here. We've had this training taking place. If you look to the upper left, you see Pottsville. That's out of our viewing area, but that's yet another cell, thankfully, that's going to pass on by to the west and not impact Berks County. Berks County, again, has seen 3 very heavy thunderstorms over the last couple of hours. All of this activity developed around 4:30, 5 o'clock this morning, and it just continues to train over the same areas over and over and over again. You can see those flashing cylinders here, and it looks like it is just starting to, let's say, fizzle out a little bit. Let's hope that is a trend. It is just south of Allentown. Let's go back over full to source 12, please. And we'll take another look at it here. And again, you can clearly see the rotation now. It is moving away from Red Lion. It looks like that part of Berks County is in the clear. It is updating now just south of Macungie. Even though you see the rotation around Red Lion, it is just now east, crossing over the Berks-Lehigh County line. So it is just south of Macungie, and it looks like it'll pass on by south of Emmaus. So this whole area, please seek shelter now. Go to the basement, the center part of your house. The reason why you want to go to the center part of your house if you don't have a basement is because the object is to put as many walls in between you and the outside as possible. There's going to be flying debris. If there is a tornado, windows are going to get broken, glass flying everywhere. So again, that's the idea. If there's many walls in between you and the outside, it limits the impacts that this storm could have on you. Powder Valley 717, Macungie 717, 2 minutes from now. Looks like Old Zionsville about 719. It looks like Macungie seeing the hail core at the moment. We're seeing the golf ball size hail, the quarter size hail there. You can clearly see all the cloud to ground lightning strikes. Again, all of this updating in real time right in front of your eyes. Allentown, the Lehigh Valley, it looks like it is pushing through there now. Allentown should experience the heavy rains. You may even see some hail in Allentown, but it looks like the rotating winds should steer south of you and maybe pushing into Hellertown if this cell holds together as it continues to travel to the northeast at about 25 miles per hour. Okay, let's go back over to weather source 1. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to, let's take a closer look. There it is right there. Okay, so the severe thunderstorm warning has been discontinued, excuse me. The tornado warning, though, that is continuing until 7:30, so at least another 14 minutes from now. Flash flood warning up still for Berks County. Now, this is up until 8:45, and this is because of the heavy rains that have fallen earlier this morning. Doppler radar estimates are now up to 4 to 5 inches of rain. Areas just north of Reading. There's a smaller community called Burnville. That area got hit particularly hard. And then from that point north into this Maiden Creek and then northward up into that Lehigh, Berks County line, these areas, again, have Doppler radar estimates 4 to 5 inches. So that's why the flood warning, the flash flood warning has been issued. It's just a tremendous amount of rain that has fallen in a short period of time. There's nowhere for that water to go. It all runs off. So that's why we're seeing the flooding taking place here. This green shaded area, that just represents a flood advisory. That's the National Weather Service's way of saying, hey, we're getting reports of some low-lying flooding. It's not severe, but the water's starting to pile up, so use precaution. And again, this red shaded area, that's the tornado warning. That is up until about 7:30 this morning. So these warnings will continue, and we're going to continue to see this activity over the next, let's say, hour or so. Now, this particular cell won't last that long, but these thunderstorms will continue to roll through our viewing area for at least another hour until the warm front continues to push through. And at that point, that's when everything will begin to settle down. Clouds will break, and we'll get some sunshine out there. It's a warm and sticky morning Feels very tropical, almost like Florida out there. Let's go right back to source 12, please. We'll take Storm Tracker 6 Live full. And I've had a chance to update this. And again, here it is, Zanesville, about 7:19, which is about a minute from now. Now, we're not seeing that rotating cylinder anymore. That's a good sign. Hopefully the rotation is either beginning to weaken or lift off the ground here. But we're still seeing the very heavy rains. We're still seeing the hail core indicated by that purple shade there. So again, we'll just stay on this for the next 5 minutes or so here, and we'll watch this cell as it passes on by. Macungie, heavy rains and hail. Emmaus, heavy rains and hail. Numerous cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. The rotating winds, it looks like the cylinder is gone, but if there's still rotation, it's going to be just south of Macungie and just south of Emmaus. Allentown, it should stay just south of there. Tornado warning is in effect for extreme northeastern portions of Berks County. It's just a sliver of Berks County now, mainly southern portions of Lehigh County. This is up until 7:30 this morning. We have that flash flood warning up for almost all of Berks County. That is up until 8:45. So again, some of the smaller communities are within that little box, and that'll continue to update here live in real time. And you can see it looks like Dillingerville about 7:21, East Texas 7:20, and Zionsville 7:19. And it does appear over the last few frames here, over the last, let's say, 5 minutes or so, that this is starting to look like it is weakening, which is a good sign here. We don't see nearly as much in the way of purple showing up. Obviously, the rotating cylinder is gone at this point, and the cell's becoming smaller. So, yeah, this is a sure sign that things are beginning to wind down here, and it looks like it is, for the most part, just a heavy rain event at this point now. Let's hope that trend continues. Lots of energy, lots and lots of energy with this. Let's go right back over to weather source 13. We'll show you the wider view. And there it is right there. And again, you can see all the cells here. And I just want to remind everybody, you can see not only the cylinder disappearing here at this point, sign of weakening, but I just want to remind everybody that nothing else is really going on across the viewing area right now. It's just this cell here. Philadelphia area is quiet. South Jersey is quiet. Delaware is quiet. We're just seeing the heavy rains and the strong gusty winds. The severe thunderstorm warning has been discontinued. We still have a tornado warning up for 10 minutes for southern portions of Lehigh County. Heavy rains extending north into Carbon and Monroe counties and the Poconos. And it looks like also Northampton County seeing a lot of very heavy rains as well. Let's go right over to weather source 1, and we'll go back to the watches and warnings. So again, just a quick reminder here, tornado warning up until 7:30 is for southern portions of Lehigh County. And then, of course, the flash flood warning up until 8:45. That's for Berks County. Fortunately, everything's starting to pull out of Berks County now and pulling away. It's all lifting north into Lehigh County. They're going to get a chance to dry out here in Berks County. Just a tremendous amount of rain has fallen in a very short period of time. We'll go right back over to weather source 12. And we'll just stay right on this cell here. We'll continue to watch it as it passes by. Lightning strikes. Again, this number's taken in 15-minute increments. And this one small little cell has produced hundreds and hundreds of cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. This just kind of tell you how much energy is involved with this cell. And to kind of give you an idea, if you're just now tuning in, what's happening here is there's a warm front. We were talking about this yesterday. There's a warm front that's in the process of pushing through. If you remember, yesterday it was hot. We managed a high of 90, but the dew points dropped out during the afternoon. So it was kind of a comfortable 90 degrees. There wasn't much humidity out there. This front was a game changer. Once this pushed through, we get into that tropical air mass again. You're really going to notice that this afternoon. We have an AccuWeather alert in effect, obviously, because of the severe weather at the moment, but it's going to continue throughout the afternoon. But for the heat, a heat advisory has been issued for the I-95 corridor because of the atmosphere that's getting ready to, or the environment that's getting ready to move into the Philadelphia area. Very hot, oppressively humid later on with heat index numbers easily over 100 degrees, if not higher. As a matter of fact, some of the modeling showed places like Millville and Mount Holly as high as 102 or 103 later on. And yes, there could be some more thunderstorms developing and with the peak heating of the day. So again, here's another look at Storm Tracker 6 Live. The rotating winds, it looks like the cylinders have disappeared, which is a sign of weakening, but the tornado warning will remain in effect until 7:30 or maybe a little bit sooner if the National Weather Service decides to discontinue it. But right now the warning is still up, again, for southern Lehigh County until 7:30. The individual cell, the the center of this cell, where the rotation was, should pass by just south of Allentown. It looks like Hellertown might be in the direct path of this. Again, it looks like the strong rotation has begun to weaken, which is good. The rotating cylinder is gone, but you can see some of the lightning strikes here. And you know what we can do? Actually, let's try this. Let me see what road this is right here. All right, that's 476, so that's the northeast extension, and it looks like it would be traveling right over the northeast extension now, just south of Emmaus, and it would be moving just like that. If you follow that red line right there, that's going to be where the center of this cell is. Now, earlier, we had a well-defined hook, and what I mean by hook, if I can get my pen to work, there it is right there. What I mean by hook is at one point, the radar looked like this. You could see it kind of shaped like this. This would be kind of an indication of what it looked like, and the reason why is because you had the rotating winds right in through here. Okay, so you had almost this little center that was developing here, and the radar return was shaped like that. It almost looked like a little fish hook, which is a very good sign that there was rotation very close to the ground. We're sort of seeing that now, although it's not nearly as well defined, so it does appear that all of this is starting to weaken. Now, we still have a lot of cloud to ground lightning strikes out there. There's still a little bit of lavender or purple up there, and that would indicate the hail that is falling. So we still have a little bit of a hail core, but the rotating cylinder is gone, and again, it does appear as if this is weakening at this moment. So this is again pushing to the northeast at about 20 to 25 miles per hour. Let's go right back over to weather source 1. Here's another look. Just a reminder here, tornado warning continues until 7:30 this morning for southern portions of Lehigh County, about another, let's say, 5.5 minutes from now. And that red that you see, most of Berks County, that is a flash flood warning. That is up until 8:45 because of the tremendous rain that has fallen in the last couple of hours. Again, just a reminder, this is the third cell that has traveled over this very same area since 5 o'clock this morning. Let's take weather source 13. I'll show the wider view. Again, here it is. You can see the cells here. Warm front lifting through. Heavy rains lifting north into New Jersey. Belvedere and Sussex County, New Jersey, they're getting hit very, very hard. And so is the Poconos at this point. We're seeing very heavy rains falling in that part of the area. Now, we're not seeing severe thunderstorms. We're not seeing strong gusty winds in the Poconos, but we're certainly seeing some very heavy rain and obviously the flooding. But everything lifting north of Reading at this point. Focus on Reading. You can see how the cell originated right around the Reading area, and then it just lifted to the northeast. And so everything finally beginning to settle down out there. Burnville was one of the locations where emergency management reported numerous water rescues because of the heavy rains that fell. We had anywhere from 3 to as much as 4.5 inches Doppler radar estimates that fell in that area over the last couple of hours. And obviously, with all that rain in a short period of time, there's nowhere for it to go, so it all runs off. So low-lying areas, smaller creeks and streams, they flooded very quickly, and the result was emergency management had to get out there and rescue some of the folks that got caught up in it, that got stranded in those high floodwaters. Now, as we're looking at this image here, just south of Allentown, it does appear as if we have this cell continuing to push just to the southeast at about 25 miles per hour. And it will continue to move to the southeast, or excuse me, northeast, and pull away, eventually moving away. It looks like Hellertown is in the direct path of this cell here. Here's another look at it. Actually, go right back over to weather source. Sorry, I was updating just then. Go right back over to weather source 12, I believe. Yes, there we go, weather source 12. And again, I've updated the track, and here we go. So Emmaus 727, looks like it is pretty much over you guys now. Limeport 730, Locust Valley 733. It is moving just to the east. It's south of Allentown, moving east at 25 miles per hour. Coopersburg is also going to get hit pretty hard over the next few minutes or so. If you're not seeing the strong gusty winds, you're certainly seeing the drenching downpours, and you are likely seeing some hail as we continue to see some lavender here, specks of lavender within this particular cell. Allentown just seeing the very heavy rain. It is quickly moving into Hellertown now. Springtown's going to see some heavy rain shortly. And Crasdale, looks like you're also seeing some very heavy rain. So if you're traveling north, along the northeast extension, you really start to get into it. As soon as you get out of Bucks County and you get into Lehigh County, Northampton counties, that's when you start to run into this cell here. So from Crasdale all the way up to Allentown, very heavy rains, strong gusty winds, and a lot of cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. Let's please go right back over to Weather Source 1. Tornado warning continues until 7:30. So we will stay on this until 7:30 as we continue to watch this cell pass by just south of Allentown. There it is. Thanks, guys. Flash flood warning again in effect for the areas shaded in red. That is most of Berks County. And that does include Reading. It includes Hamburg, and it includes this Maiden Creek right there along 222, also 422, one of the other major roads involved in this warning. We've seen a ton of flooding reports in through here. That red shaded area, that's the tornado warning. Again, a sliver of northeastern Berks County. Most of southern Lehigh County now crosses right over the northeast extension. That's the tornado warning up until 7:30. Areas just south of Allentown. So again, this is set to expire in about a minute and a half. We're not seeing the rotating winds. Storm Tracker 6 Live is not picking up those rotating winds anymore, and it does appear as if the cell is starting to weaken. Now, we're still seeing the heavy rains and the cloud-to-ground lightning strikes, but again, it does look like everything's starting to wind down. So again, we'll hold this for another minute. Let's see if the National Weather Service discontinues this. Let's go right back over to Weather Source 12. And we'll take Storm Tracker 6 Live. This is what it looks like. Again, just a reminder, this is updating. You're looking at this live. This is real-time updating here. This is the only radar in the viewing area that can do this. Allentown seeing very heavy rains. Emmaus, Coopersburg, Hellertown all reporting very heavy downpours and a lot of cloud-to-ground lightning strikes. It looks like Quakertown could get clipped with some heavy rain, but the rotating winds, or the part of the cell that had the rotating winds, will move north of Quakertown. Looks like it could go right over Coopersburg or just north of there, in between Coopersburg and Emmaus. Hellertown, Springtown, all getting ready to see very heavy rains if you're not already picking it up. So it looks like we have about 20 seconds left here on this warning. Let's see if it does expire. And again, if you look to the left, this little box, these are some of the smaller communities that are within the path of this system. So we're still tracking very heavy rains at this point, and we're still seeing strong gusty winds. And yes, that tornado warning has been discontinued by the National Weather Service. So it appears as if everybody is in the clear now. So still seeing some heavy rains, but again, it looks like everything's starting to wind down. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this.